welcome to the Trash Picture Show. In this video I will be talking about 2018's The Predator, and specifically the lost Stargazer sequence and the proposed Ripley and Newt ending that would have been featured in the film. So in 2018 The Predator came out and it was met with scathing reviews. A lot of problems were with this movie, and as much as I tried to enjoy it, I couldn't ignore certain aspects, such as the constant tonal shift from comedy to action, to the shoddy visual effects, to the very choppy editing. And I think the major culprit for this movie's downfall and demise was studio interference with Shane Black. It had been delayed and cut and rewritten numerous times, and that's not even to talk about the controversy involving Shane Black hiring a child sex offender in one of the scenes, but I'm not going to get into that. What I'm going to get into is the original draft by Fred Decker, who wanted a more kind of sci-fi heavy story. And while this sequence was shot, not all the visual effects were completed. Strange enough, the sequence was shown to a test audience and they did not react well, so it was put back to the drawing board and a more kind of conventional Predator ending was put in place. But what was the sequence that was removed? This is what is called the Stargazer sequence, or the Stargazer plotline. Essentially, after Will Traeger captures Quinn McKenna and the loonies about halfway through the movie, it turns out he himself is a clandestine agent. He's not working for the government. He is trying to sell off Predator weapons to the highest bidder. And then enters a new character played by James Edward Almus, a character called General Woodhurst. Woodhurst would arrive, kill Traeger, and bring Quinn McKenna, the loonies, Rory and Casey back to Area 52. And at Area 52, we would realize that there are two more quote-unquote good predators, or emissary predators, as they became known in the story or in the script. These guys were essentially defectors who, like the fugitive, was trying to help humanity fight against the newer breed of predators. We find out that they had been there for about 2 years, and they have been helping humans decipher Predator technology. And they were also the reason that the ultimate assassin had come to Earth. He wasn't only there to stop the fugitive, he was there to kill these two guys. So it transpires that there is, in the fugitive ship, there is a pod which contains the key to humanity's survival. And essentially James Edward Almus's character would instruct the loonies to join forces with the emissaries to get to the down ship and retrieve the pod. As they're getting ready tactically to go out and retrieve the pod, the base is laid siege to by the ultimate assassin and a number of predator hybrids, not just dogs, but other creatures, insectoid, xenomorph-like predator creatures. We would also get a almost simian version of a predator which would attack. This would lead to an action sequence involving Humvees and a flatback truck and an ATV, which would be chased by the Upgrade and his mutational creatures. And it would lead to the loonies being picked off by these kind of hybrids one by one. Some of these scenes, actually quite a few of these scenes, made it into the trailer. One in particular was Nebraska manning the gun of the Striker tank, the 50 caliber gun. Ironically, that isn't the only sequence in a Predator movie where a character is manning a 50 caliber gun to be cut out of the actual movie. In AVPR, we can see that the character Kelly is also seen firing a 50 cal in the trailer, but it actually doesn't make it into the movie. But I digress. The loonies are picked off one by one by these monkey, insect, and other predator hybrids. I think Coil is dissolved by one of the creatures being exploded or are blown up point blank range. The upgrade arrives and kills both the emissaries, and the movie would progress back to its original finish, where it would capture Rory and attempt to destroy the ship along with the pod. The movie would end with McKenna, Casey, and Rory surviving, the loonies being killed, and they do manage to dispatch the upgrade Predator. So, what is the different Ripley and Newt endings? Essentially, there were a number of ideas for the endings. The first obvious one was to have Dutch emerge from the pod. However, Schwarzenegger didn't like the fact that his role had been cut back. They were originally going to try and have him turn up at the end of the movie in a helicopter, him actually being a major agent for Stargazer. This was kind of picked up in the new Predator Hunting Grounds game, but at the 11th hour, he decided not to go with it. He wanted a bigger role in the movie. So they decided, at what I like to call, throw shit at the wall and see what stuck. The first idea they had was to have Ellen Ripley emerge from the pod. Now, you could tell because you could tell he was trying to push the whole Alien versus Predator element, because at one of the conventions, I think the San Diego Comic-Con, Shane Black said to fans, "Hey, how about that Alien versus Predator thing? Do you think that's still viable?" And everyone cheered. So
I think it's not about a xenomorph. It's not about an experiment that's going to emerge from anyone's chest or what have you. Although I don't think AVP is dead. Do you? I love the idea of those two together.
Love AVP.
Maybe that was put in later. Maybe that was a post-production thing to have Ripley in it. Again, obviously they couldn't get Sigourney Weaver, so they had a Weyland-Yutani breathing apparatus that looked very much like a face hugger on her face. And yeah, this makes no sense, along with the second ending, which I will get into, because the Alien movies take place in the far-flung future. So the only explanation to this was Predators had access to time travel. And I genuinely couldn't see it working. If they had done a sequel and had gone with this ending, would they have recast Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley? How would this have affected the franchise? Would they have entered aliens into the mix? The second proposed ending was essentially the same, but instead have Newt appear out of the pod. And again, it still makes no sense. This is a character for the far-flung future. It was going to be an adult version of Newt who would be kind of have knowledge on how to hunt the predators using aliens. Again, this makes no sense. I did see in interviews Shane Black tout the idea of having like a kind of a matinee showing and a late noon showing, having one version of the movie show at a matinee showing and then have another version at a late night showing. I genuinely don't see how this would work. It would make no difference. People would still be pissed at one or the other type of the movie. It would divide fans. Like, again, we are getting the Snyder cut of Justice League, but I think this kind of pandering does not help the creative process. It isn't doing the fans any service, and it certainly isn't helping the franchise. Will we ever see a Stargazer cut of the Predator? Maybe. Shane Black said that a lot of the preliminary photography and filming had been done. The only thing that had to be inserted was visual effects, and that sequence with the battle on the roadway to the down fugitive ship would have required a hell of a lot of visual effects. So it would be a case of, would Fox be willing to put more money into this? I can't see them doing that. Like, we have got extended and alternate cuts of the Alien movies, but the Alien franchise is much as much as Alien and Predator have a lot of similarities, the Alien franchise I think is a lot more coveted than the Predator franchise. I can see Fox putting more money into a movie that has essentially kind of basically defaced one of their primary franchises. And the fact is, Fox don't even exist anymore. So will Disney even bother trying to do that? Who knows? I doubt it. Again, the reception for the movie was lackluster at best, and I can't see a company trying to put any more time or effort into salvaging this. Again, would the Stargazer cut have been better than what we got? Possibly. I do think that one of the major concerns was that the sequence took place during the day and there was a lot of practical effects. Now, practical effects in the original Predator and the likes of Predator 2, Stan Winston done some fantastic work. But to have an action heavy sequence like that with so many visual effects in the daytime, I could not see that working. So it's one of those things of it's a movie that could have been. We can only speculate. I can't see us getting a Stargazer cut. Again, I don't see it being any better than what we got, if so marginally at best. There was a lot of problems with that script as well. So what do you think, guys? Would you have liked to seen a Stargazer cut of the movie? Would you have liked to seen an ending that would have featured Ripley or Newt? Let me know in the comments below, and yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.